welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we are going to be continuing with New Moon, and we will be covering chapters 15 and 16.
The joy of New Moon. But before we get too deep into that, just a reminder, you can find us at all 4 of our social medias, and you should find us at all of our 4 social medias, which are TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. The handle for all 4 is at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S. Please like and subscribe. We are suffering through New Moon for you guys. Like and subscribe, please.
Yeah, at this point, it's no longer for my entertainment. I don't know if you're still entertained, but
It's a mutual cringe suffer fest.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like the equivalent of taking those Flintstone gummies when you were a kid. No, not the gummies, sorry. The Flintstone vitamins, the chalk ones.
The chalk ones.
You know it's probably good for you to get through it. You're taking it because your mom spent the money on the vitamins, but if it were up to you, you probably wouldn't take them.
Yep.
But then you got your ass whooped if you hit them.
Yes. Well, all right. So, we forgot to do this last week. Apologies. Would you like to do a really, really, really fast summary?
That's right.
Our bad.
Our bad bear. If you hear a cat in the background, yes, you do. There is a cat here. You're not hallucinating. It's not schizophrenia or anything. You're good. And we are still at a different location. We're at Jess's house. So if you see a ghost in the background, don't tell us. We don't want to know. With that being said, the super fast summary is that Bella is as thick as a rock. She took forever to figure out that Jacob is a werewolf, but now she's put 2 and 2 together, and they have finally realized that, the reason people are disappearing is because Victoria's back. Remember her from Twilight? You should. Anyway, she's back, and now Bella and the gang are trying to figure out how to go after her or figure out what's happening, and Bella is just happy that she gets to have her Jacob. But not that way, but it's her Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anything crucial in there?
That was beautiful. No, you did not.
Great.
So chapter 15 is titled Pressure. It was now spring break. Last spring break, she had been hunted by vampires too. Hopefully, this did not become a tradition. Bella was now in a routine. She would spend her Sundays on the beach, and Charlie would hang out with Billy. She was supposed to be with Jacob, but he had other things to do. Jacob came by to check on her and would apologize for leaving her so much. But this is how it will be until Victoria was stopped. They walked along the beach, and Jacob held her hand, as he now always did. Sorry to stumble, but
No, my face is more for the,
Yeah. I know, and that's why I stuttered, because just Bella.
Oh, that was the other part of the summary. Jacob likes to say Bella honey a lot, and we both find it a very not 16-year-old boy.
No.
Unless they are flamboyantly gay.
Yeah.
In our personal experience.
Yeah. And that is not meant to offend anybody. That's just what we...
Is that an offensive thing now? Flamboyantly gay?
I don't know. A lot of people get offended by a lot of things, so I don't want to...
Well, that's not what we're saying here. Hopefully not.
Very flamboyant. I don't know.
We're not here to offend anyone besides Bella Swan or Edward Cullen.
Yes. And so far, I love Jacob, and I will continue to say it until the day that I apparently am going to not say it. But I'm kind of scared for that moment, and I want to skip over whatever
I'm wondering if you're actually going to find it as big of an issue as I think you're going to find it, because for me, I remember it being a big issue, but I also know the type of books you read outside of New Moon, so maybe it's not as big of an issue, and that was not a judgment. I read the same books, so.
Yes, and maybe one day we will get to some of those books. Obviously, we're not going to be summarizing those parts. All right, so Jacob came by to check on her and would apologize for leaving her so much. But this is how it would be until Victoria was stopped. They walked along the beach, and Jacob held her hand, as he now always did. Bella thought about how others assumed that they were dating and how it shouldn't bother her, but his hands did feel nice in hers. When Bella went to work on Tuesday, Jacob followed her to make sure that she got there safe, and Mike asked if she was dating the kid from La Push. I don't know if this is picking up or not, but Bear has a ton of opinions.
I've been watching. I don't know if it has.
Well, apologies for meowing.
It's the internet. The internet loves cats.
You guys love cats, but Bear has a lot of opinions, so sorry if it's annoying, but I can't stop him because he's a cat.
Yeah.
So Mike's voice was resentful, and Bella told him, not technically, but he is her best friend and she spends most of her time with him. Quote, Mike's eyes narrowed shrewdly. Don't kid yourself, Bella. The guy's head over heels for you. I know, I sighed. Life is complicated. And girls are cruel, Mike said under his breath. End quote.
Mike ain't wrong in this situation.
No, he's not. Like, this is what Bella needs to hear.
Honestly, hot take here. Mike, so far, has been the most straightforward with Bella. Now, I'm not saying that he's her best friend in the world, but of the normies at Forks High School, besides Angela, like, Mike he's at least been very straightforward. He doesn't get the hit, and he's very pushy, and I'm not saying he's perfect.
No.
But in this moment, he is telling the truth.
Yes.
And I think we can all agree, girls can be cruel. Boys can be cruel.
Yeah.
High school and middle school girls can be especially cruel to boys and girls alike.
So, Mike is telling Bella what she needs to hear. That night, Bella, Charlie, Sam, and Emily went over to Billy's house for dessert, and any worries that Charlie may have had about a gang were dissolved. Jacob and Bella dipped out early to get privacy, as Stephanie put it in the book. They went to the garage and sat in the Rabbit, which is the car. Bella tells him that he needs to get some sleep. He assures her he'll get around to it. Jacob takes her hand in his, and Bella asks if the heat is a wolf thing. It is. They run a little warmer than normal people, so somewhere between 108 or 109, and they heal fast. Jacob offers to show Bella and pulls out a pocket knife.
Now that's a teenage boy.
That is a teenage boy thing.
100% a teenage boy.
Bella shouts no, she doesn't want to see this. And Jacob puts the knife away laughing.
Also, I can vibe with the wolves on that one because I swear I run warm.
I don't.
Girl, I do. I run to the extreme of whatever temperature I'm in. If it's a cold place, I will be extremely cold. If it's in a warm place, like we've been in the last several, it is fall here. Why are we in the 80s?
It's really hot.
I'm drenched in sweat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not ladylike. I know.
Nothing we can do about it now.
Nothing we can do about it. Just daily showers, deodorant, and perfume.
Do your best.
Bam. Don't wear gray.
Yeah, no. So they continue to talk about Quill. His grandfather has been saying that he is burning up so much that you could fry an egg on his forehead, so it won't be long for him now. Turning kind of just builds and builds. Sometimes you get upset or something and you can trigger it easily. For Jacob, he wasn't mad. He was actually really happy, mostly because of Bella, and that's why it didn't happen for him for so long. So that's why it held off.
Oh, she was cuddled up to him at the movie theater and was snuggled up to him in the car while Newton's puking his brains out in the back seat.
But he was like on cloud 9. I thought he was like this bozo's in the back puking,
making an
guts
embarrassment
out.
of himself.
Yep, and I'm
Bella
here in the
snuggled
front.
up to me. I will say that's a green flag right there. If like his transformation wasn't caused by rage but by happiness.
I know. Well, it didn't happen for him for so long because of that.
That's a red flag. But then again, it's a red flag if someone is not quick to anger.
Yeah.
Not quick to express their anger. Internally, you can get angry, but do not express that right away. Take your time, work it through. You do not have to say everything. This is ironic that I'm saying this. You do not have to say everything that comes to mind right away.
So Jacob was so happy. So he's like holding off the transformation, and that's, like not transforming yet. And then he gets back from the movie, and Billy told Jacob that he looked weird, and Jacob snapped, apparently.
Like snap transformed or snap got mad?
Got mad.
Oh.
And my assumption is that's when he turned. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was super... You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I will not take offense. I would love to be corrected. It's been a while since I've read this chapter, but I do not believe that it was a clear answer if that's when he transformed or not. I do remember it said that he snapped when Billy said that.
Yeah, it's been years since I read it. I don't remember either. Someone in the comments let us know.
Yeah. So Jacob tells Bella that he isn't miserable, not now that she knows the secret, but the hardest part is feeling out of control. It was hard to find himself at first, but it's easier for him because of his grandfather's... I am going to butcher these names. I apologize. Ephraim Black and Quill Atatira. Yes, we're going to go with it. Quill is actually his second cousin. This matters because his grandfathers were the last in the pack. Levi Uli was the third, and this means that Jacob has it in his blood on both sides, so he never stood a chance, and neither does Quill. The best part about being a werewolf, though, is the speed. There's no comparison, and to put it in perspective, they were fast enough to catch Laurent.
That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Jacob then asks Bella why her bloodsuckers killed James. Bella explains that he was trying to kill her. It was a game for him and he lost, and that's why she was actually hospitalized in Phoenix. Jacob was surprised that he got that close. Bella started stroking her scar, and Jacob noticed and held her hand. But he looks more closely at her funny cold scar and then gasps when he realizes what it actually is. Bella tells him that James bit her, but Edward saved her twice. He was able to suck the venom out. Jacob's whole body was trembling, and Bella reminds him to calm down. Only his hands are shaking now, and he tells Bella to tell him more to think about. Did the Cullens have any extra talents? Bella hesitated because it felt like a spy and not his friend. But what was the point to keep it from him? So Bella tells him about Jasper and Alice, but Bella's head begins to spin and she starts to panic. Jacob was fully in control now, which is so sweet. He's like, oh no, okay, focus on Bella. That's like the perfect distraction for him. Bella's in distress and he's like, okay, I'm on it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's totally a thing, like that parent trigger. If my anxiety or something is going crazy, if someone around me is all of a sudden like having their own little crisis, immediately mine is like, oh, it's not happening. We're focusing on you.
Exactly.
Like I could be having a heart attack and someone will be crying and I'll be like, not now, stop. You first. Is that healthy?
No.
All right. Well, we're both the same way, so I feel like we're good.
I know. So Jacob was fully in control now. He tugged lightly at her arms that were clenching her chest and asks why she does that when she's upset. Bella tells him that it hurts to think about them and it feels like she can't breathe. Jacob tells her that it's okay and he won't bring them up again. Bella assures him that it happens all the time, so it's not his fault. Jacob points out that they're a pretty messed up pair, but at least they have each other. Jacob, you don't even know the full story, dude. You don't know. You don't know she's been hearing Edward when you guys have been hanging out.
I don't believe she ever tells anyone besides Edward.
So far to where I am, that is correct.
Which, honestly, honey, I'm going to be with her on that one because no.
She was going to tell Jacob. But we will get to that in later chapters.
I forgot about that. But yeah, if you're having that strong of an auditory hallucination, something's going on.
A lot.
A lot is going on.
If that is happening to you, and we'll take this serious for a second, if that is actually happening to you, please seek help.
Yeah.
Because those voices in your head can tell you to do insane things. So go seek help. Don't think that you can handle this on your own. You need professional help.
And that's not a judgment. You need help. That's no, we're concerned about you. We don't know you, but we want you to have help because that stuff is scary on your own.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Getting help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength.
Mm-hmm. It is. And I've gone and seen a lot of people that is happening to them and they haven't gone to see anybody for help. And I've seen how much it hurts them and hurts the people around them. So if you won't do it for yourself, do it for your loved ones.
Mm-hmm. And if you think you don't have loved ones, do you have a pet? Do you have a dog? Do you have a stray that you pass on the street and you feed?
Yeah.
Do it for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to do things for animals than people.
Honestly, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's something that my husband and I say all the time. We're like, we got to go to work, not for us, but so Zeus can have a good life.
So our animals can eat and live and
have nice,
everything.
Expensive food. The dogs.
Don't remind me.
They eat better than we do.
Yes, and I have to do Ruby's meal prep this week.
Eesh.
Anyways, back to...
Yeah. But on that note, you should check out Jess and Ruby have a TikTok. It is called Jess and Ruby, right? Yes.
It's been a long time since I've posted on there, but I'm working on it. We're getting this all settled, and I just started a new job, so we're letting the dust settle, and yes. I'll get back to it, I promise.
But you should check it out. It's actually a really cool story.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that plug.
Yes, I'm all about the plugs.
Over the next few days, Bella spends a lot of time at Billy's and even tried hanging out with Emily one afternoon. Quote, "It wasn't hard to be with her. After all, we were both wolf girls now." End quote. We're just going to do that and not acknowledge. So if you're not watching... Connie just has the red flag up. So Bella went to the beach to walk after Sam came back. The pain in her chest came back and she curled up into a ball. Jacob found her and said sorry, pulled her up and put his arm around her shoulders. Quote, "His warmth made me shudder, but at least I could breathe with him there." End quote. He then apologizes for ruining her spring break. He continues that he will take tomorrow off so they can do something fun because it's exactly what she needs.
I think I'm remembering this next part.
It'll be next chapter. It won't be this chapter.
Yep. Those who know, you know.
So Jacob thinks and lets go of her hand, pointing toward the end of the beach. He promised to bring her cliff diving. At least I don't think it's this chapter. We'll find out together. He asks if she's up for it, and she is. Quote, "It's a date," he said, and draped his arm around my shoulders. End quote. Bella tells him, "Okay, now let's go get some sleep."
That was a perfect opportunity for a rebuttal.
She has had so many chances to clear things up, and she hasn't.
No. And the thing that's driving me nuts, short aside here, all of what I have been studying is the elements of blank.
Yeah.
The elements of Bella being a red flag here is an act occurs that can be misconstrued by Jacob. Bella refuses to rebuttal it, thereby leading Jacob on. All three elements of a red flag are satisfied.
We have a future lawyer here, guys.
It's midterms week for me, guys. Like, I gotta... Elements are on my brain. How do you satisfy them?
That was perfect, though. I love that.
Thank you. If any of my law professors are watching, please don't judge me in class. Also, did I apply that right? Can I get extra credit? Do you want me to format as a Koreac or an IRAC? I will. I don't have dignity when it comes to extra credit. Within reason. We're just going to keep going.
Okay, to continue. Bella woke up early the next morning. She was almost excited. Maybe today would be fun. Oh God, you're gonna love this. Quote, a date with Jacob, a date with Edward, ... I laughed darkly to myself. Jake could say what he wanted about us being a messed up pair. I was the one who was truly messed up. I made the werewolf seem downright normal. End quote.
Agreed.
I am warm. I don't know about you.
I am warm.
Oh gosh.
Wait.
Ooh.
Because you know Jacob is up in his room. He's all giddy and he's like, oh man, I'm going to have a date with Bella. Blah, 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 blah. And Bella's all, I'm going to have a date with my hallucination of Edward.
And Jacob. Yeah. We're not going to get farther into that because we could deep dive on that, but we are not, unless you guys want us to. Let us know, and we will do a one-off episode of us deep diving on that.
That could totally be a weird, like, Pulp Fiction romance thing where you're having a date with a guy, but your ghost of a husband is also there, and he gets to, like, possess you. That was a storyline on Ghost Whisperer. Never mind. Been there, done that.
Okay. Back in. Sorry, we're a little squirrely. We don't normally record this late.
No. And it's also been a very long week. Just worked this morning. I had a midterm this morning. Afternoon. Yeah. You worked this morning afternoon. Oh, man, we better keep going. We're going to be up until 1 a.m.
We got this. We got it. So Bella arrived at Jacob's when he... Oh, it will be these 2 chapters, Connie. Bella arrived at Jacob's. When he wasn't there to greet her, she assumed that he was still sleeping. Bella knocked on the door, and Billy told her to come in. Billy tells her that Embry, Jared, and Paul crossed a fresh trail this morning, and both Sam and Jake took off to help. Sam thinks that they have a good chance to finish this. Bella whispers, "Oh no." Billy chuckled and asked if she liked it here so much that she wanted to extend her sentence.
Okay, Billy.
Bella tells him not to make jokes. This is too scary. Billy agrees and says this is a tricky one, but it isn't as dangerous for them as she thinks. Sam knows what he's doing. Also, the vampires don't want to fight them. She wants to get around them to get to Bella. Everything that they need to know has been passed down for generations. But this didn't comfort Bella. Victoria was lethal. Bella tells Billy that she's headed to the beach and leaves. Once she's there, she wished that she hadn't come. She had been there almost every day, alone. Bella tried to not think about the danger that Jacob and the others were in. If she lost Jacob, she wouldn't be able to function. Bella had been counting on hearing Edward today. Bella began to pace. There was no wind, but the waves started crashing against the rock. Bella thought to the day that she and Jacob watched Sam and his gang throw themselves off the edge. Bella imagined the freedom of the fall and imagined Edward's voice, quote, "Furious, velvet, perfect, ... The burning in my chest flared
agonizingly."
End quote. Thank Thank you.
I got you.
I couldn't say it for the life of me.
Yeah, we're cutting back in after trying to get it.
I was stroking out or something. She had to stop the pain somehow. She glanced to the cliffs and asked herself, why not quench this right now? Just because Jacob wasn't available doesn't mean that she shouldn't give herself the distraction. Bella knew that Jacob had planned to take her to the lower one and not the top one, but she couldn't find her way down and she didn't have time.
She went to the top one?
There was a storm moving in, so it had to be now. She wanted to jump from the top. This was the most stupid and reckless thing that she had done, and this made her smile. Yeah, you're not going to be putting that down for a long time.
No, it's just going to stay up. It's just going to stay up.
Yep. Yeah, we're talking about the red flag for those of you just listening. Bella stepped to the edge. The voice was back and pleaded with her to not do this for him. She jumps and screams with exhilaration. She plunges into freezing black water. Then the current caught her. The waves were pulling her back and forth. Bella knew how to get out of this, but was too disoriented to know which way the shore was, or even where the surface was. Bella's delusion of Edward came back. He told her to keep swimming and to not give up. Bella listened, but what's the point? She didn't want to fight anymore, and this was oddly peaceful. Bella saw him now. He was angry, teeth clenched, and his nostrils were flared in rage. Quote, I ignored his words and concentrated on the sound of his voice. Why would I fight when I was so happy where I was? Even as my lungs burned for more air and my legs cramped in the icy cold, I was content. I'd forgotten what real happiness felt like. Happiness. It made the whole dying thing pretty bearable. End quote.
This is a red flag on mental health right now, okay? Oh, that's a lot to unpack. Keep going.
There is a suicide hotline.
Yes.
If you're ever feeling like this, obviously not in that situation. Well, but if you are feeling this way, give them a call.
Suicide hotline. Every single person that has survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge has said that they realized on their way down that every one of their problems that brought them to that point were solvable. They were fine. There's always a better solution. And I don't remember where that fact about the Golden Gate Bridge was, but it's a well-known thing.
Yeah. Apparently, at least in the U.S., I don't know about other countries, but apparently if you dial 988, that will bring you to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
I do remember that being a push back when we were in undergrad years back because the suicide hotline was such a long number. It was an 888 something. Yeah. But then they went to shorten it after, I don't remember, a famous musician committed suicide.
Okay, well, there you go. So at least for USA, I don't know if it's worldwide.
Other countries have stuff. Otherwise, shoot, Reddit. On the right Reddit thread. There are plenty of places to seek help.
So, yes, there are many resources available. So please seek those out.
Seek those out and do not do what Bella did, which is isolate yourself and then put everything dependent on one person. Yes. It's not fair to the person, not fair to you.
No.
Again, remember from our previous episode, what would Bella do? Do the opposite.
Yes. All right. Well, now we got that serious note out.
Yes, serious note out of the way. Back to Bella being a dumbass.
Yes. Bella got thrown against something hard. Air whooshed out of her lungs and water flooded her throat. She felt like she was being dragged under now. Quote, goodbye, I love you was my last thought. End of chapter 15. So chapter 16 is titled Paris.
Oh, okay, keep going. I don't know if I necessarily remember this part.
I believe I put it in the notes. If not, I'll explain it at the end why it's titled that. Bella's head broke the surface. She was conscious. She was sure that she had been sinking. The current continued to slam her against more rocks. They were pushing against the center of her back, and this pushed the water from her lungs. A voice, wild with anxiety, ordered her to breathe. Quote, I felt a cruel stab of pain when I recognized the voice, because it wasn't Edward's. End quote. Bella couldn't breathe, but the rock, or Jacob, smacked her against the back and begged for her to breathe. Jacob called to her again, quote, Bells, honey, can you hear me? End quote. Someone else has asked how long she was unconscious. Jacob didn't know, but he thinks it had been a few minutes. It didn't take long to get to her from the shore. Bella's lungs burned, but she was breathing. Sam recognized this and said that she'll come around, but they need to get her out of the cold. Bella slowly opened her eyes and croaked out Jake's name. He gasped with relief and asked if she was okay and if she was hurt. Bella shivers and tells him just her throat. Jacob lifts her up. Sam makes sure that he has her, and Jacob tells him to go back to the hospital and he'll be there later. Jacob was searching for her. He followed her tire tracks and then heard her scream. His voice slowly turns from relief to anger and asks why she would jump. Didn't she see that it was turning into a hurricane? Why didn't she just wait for him? Bella mutters, sorry, it was stupid.
Oh, I thought she had told him that she had just slipped. No, she admits to jumping?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and also Sam said back to the hospital?
Back to the hospital.
Keyword back. Okay, keep going.
You don't remember.
I think I do, but
okay.
Honestly, I think I was so just embarrassed for Bella.
That you kind of skimmed through this area?
Yeah,
that's fair. I probably would have done the same.
Had that been an option, you would have chosen it.
But no, that wasn't my option. All right, so Jacob agrees and tells her to save the stupid stuff for when he's around. He won't be able to concentrate if he thinks she's jumping off cliffs behind his back. She agrees. Her voice was hoarse and asks what happened today. Nothing. Victoria took off in the water. They have an advantage there, the vampires, and that's why Jacob came back. He was afraid that she would double back and Bella spend so much time on the beach that he was worried about her. Bella then asks the hospital, what about the hospital? Who's hurt? It wasn't one of them who she was worried about. She thought it was one of the pack. When they came back, Em told them that Harry had a heart attack that morning. Oh. Charlie's over there with Billy now, but things don't look great.
I do remember.
They got to Jacob's house. Jacob carries Bella to the couch, and Bella asks what she can do. Jacob tells her to stay there, right there, and he will get some dry clothes for her. He tossed her some clothes and says that they're going to be huge on you, but it's all he has. He tells her that he will step out so she can change. Bella tells him to not go anywhere. She is too tired to move just yet, so please stay.
While she's changing,
I thought that is where it was going. I was like, what?
Red flag on Bella.
But she's not changing. She's too tired to get up and change. So she wants him to be there.
Oh.
But no, that's how I read it too. Because I was like, Stephanie.
Our bad. Whoops.
But still.
Did Jacob have that thought?
I think Jacob's too tired.
That's valid.
because Jacob sat on the floor next to her with his back against the couch. He looked exhausted and closed his eyes, and Bella did too. The sofa was next to the radiator, and even though she was in wet clothes, she was very warm.
Rude. Do not sit on someone's couch with wet clothes. Okay.
I mean, that is where Jacob set her, in all fairness.
Good point.
But still, I know. This is the second time that this girl has been laid on a couch sopping wet.
When was the first time?
The beginning of this book?
Yeah, by Sam.
Yep. Well, technically Charlie. Sam brought her out, and then Charlie
that's
took
right,
her.
He struggled to carry
her.
Oh my god, that's right.
But someone coming from radiator heats, got some radiators next to me. They do become nice and toasty warm. Ask my cat. He lives on them during the winter.
Yeah.
So I do understand that. Not too long after, Jacob began to softly snore. So this boy is exhausted.
Understandably.
Yep. And it soothed Bella to sleep. Bella had a meaningless dream of Juliet on a balcony talking to herself. When Bella woke up, Jacob was still asleep, and it was black outside. Bella was stiff but warm and almost dry, and the inside of her throat was still burning with each breath. Bella thought more of Juliet and wondered what she would have done if Romeo had not left. If she lived, surely she wouldn't have moved on. Maybe she would marry Paris to please her parents, but probably not. What if Paris was her friend, though? Her best friend, who was the only one who really understood her, was patient and kind, took care of her. What if he really loved her and wanted her to be happy? What if she loved Paris, not like Paris enough that she wanted him to be happy too? If Romeo was really gone, would she try to settle into the leftover scraps of her life that were left? Maybe that would have been as close to happy as she could get. Bella decided she was looking into things too much, and she closed her eyes and let her mind drift.
Okay. I'm going to talk to you as your big sister, audience member, listener, probably my cousin. Hey, girl.
Hey, Jody.
Hey. No, if you're in love with the idea of somebody or what they can provide for you, that's not the same as being in love with them.
It's not.
It's not. And like, I know there's different types of love, and the Greeks had like, 11 words for it, or 11 different types of love. But like, that's not going to work. And eventually the person in Jacob's situation or Paris's situation like that, they're going to recognize that you are not returning, and it's an unequal give and take. It's not going to be good.
No.
Don't do that. Don't go with someone because of what they can provide.
Or settling. Because she refers to this as like, would she settle for this?
Would she settle of the scraps of her life or whatever it was? Yeah, don't refer to your partner, your spouse, should not be scraps. Like, if you're going to describe them in a food way, which is a little bit weird, but if you're going to describe them in a food way, they are that main entree. They are the steak. If you're vegan, they're the tofu. I don't know.
They're the honey buns.
They're the honey buns. They are the best part of the meal. If that's milk for you, they're milk. I'm judging. But like, whatever it is, that's what they are. They are not your least favorite part of the meal, whether that be fish, Brussels sprouts, or if you're people who like to eat the eyes of fish, because I know some people do. No. The things that I have been subjected to in the countryside, my girl. Anyway, fine. But the point is, your partner is not the scraps. And if you're thinking of them as scraps, or if you're thinking like Bella, what would Bella do? Don't do it. That is definitely going to become a thing now.
It is definitely going to be a thing now. Yeah. So, yeah, we're just going to circle back because I'm not going to continue down that spiral of meh.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm glad you went down it, but I'm not going to continue to add to it.
No, that's fair. I couldn't. The ethics in me could not let that go.
And I am holding my tongue because I am waiting to tell you guys if I am Team Edward or Jacob until the end of this book.
All we know is you're not Team Bella.
I am not Team Bella.
I'm not Team Bella.
Oh my gosh, this is awful. But I will tell you at the end of this book, and I have a lot to say.
I think you'll have an opinion at the end of this book, and then you will definitely have an opinion at the end of the next 2 books.
No! Because I know Connie. We've been friends for long enough. I see the look in your eyes, and something dramatic is going to happen.
A couple things.
Don't you dare
I'm not
ruin
spoiling.
perfect Jacob for me.
I didn't do anything. Stephanie, on the other hand, write her a letter. Actually, don't, because then she'd be like, oh, I should write the entire series from Jacob's perspective. I'm like, nope, can't say anything without giving away major points. For those in the comments, you know.
I'm scared.
I had a whole conversation with Jody about, like, I have told Jess that when she gets to the part of
you have
the
to
last
figure out
book,
what chapters you
I'm
need
going to
me
have to look ahead and tell you that you need to set up the tripod, and record yourself reading those chapters.
And I will just record it reading. I won't be taking notes because I don't need to edit because I get really slow.
No, trust me, you will remember enough about that when we go to film, you will not need notes. I want
Is it
your reaction.
bad? Does it involve Jacob?
It involves the 3 of them. Jacob, Bella, Edward.
We're going to circle back.
We're going to have to circle. There's literally nothing I can say without majorly spoiling. No one in the comments spoil.
I also
forbidden from looking at comments. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I also don't look at the Twilight New Moon comments at all. So if you guys comment, it might take a while. We will get to it. Either me at the end of this whole series will circle back, or I will tell Connie to, hey, you got to log in and look. So when you get a chance.
YouTube. Because with the new computer, like, none of the save stuff went over.
We'll get you. Yeah, Connie got a new laptop.
Connie was forced into getting a new laptop when her current laptop completely had a spaz out on her in the middle of a quiz that was done through the laptop in class. Yay! I got it submitted, but we immediately went to Best Buy after class.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
I was on the phone for that one.
Yeah, Jess helped me. It was great.
So
Anyway.
Bella thought, what if she had died today? What would Charlie do? Yes, what would Charlie have done?
She's finally thinking about Charlie.
Maybe she had to give up her hallucinations and try to be grown up.
Yes.
This would be miserable, but maybe she could do it. Maybe she could do it if she had Jacob.
So close to a breakthrough. So close.
Total miss.
Right turn. 90 degrees. Oh.
A car outside interrupted her thoughts.
Good. It was stupid thoughts.
Stupid thoughts. Billy came home. The door opened and the lights turned on. Jacob startled awake. He gasped and jumped on his feet. Billy apologized and asked if they woke him. Bella blinked and slowly focused on his face. His eyes were filled with tears. Jake hurried over to Billy and took one of his hands. Sam had brought Billy home. Bella says she is so sorry and asks where Charlie is. Charlie is still at the hospital with Harry's wife, helping with the arrangements. Sam leaves to go back to the hospital. Billy pulled his hand away from Jacob and rolled himself to his room. After a while, Jake came back and sat on the floor beside Bella. He put his face in his hands. I rubbed his shoulders, wishing I could think of anything to say. After a long moment, Jacob caught my hand and held it to his face. Which just like my heart in that moment, so sad that
So sad because Harry's like an uncle to Jacob.
Yeah, so obviously Harry passed away.
Yeah.
But like my heart just hurts for Jacob because this is the time that he's like, when you like come in bad times, you fall on your significant other if you have one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the time where he's like going back to her. And I just, because we know everything we know, and it just fills me with absolute rage.
Because he's leaning on her, and she just compared him to scraps in Paris, and not Paris the location, in his brain. Yep. Her brain.
In her brain. Yeah.
I know. I will say, though, as we talked about in a part that's probably going to be cut, we're not red flagging Bella on the rubbing his shoulders thing, because, like, you can do that as part of, like, supporting a thing. It's just a bummer that, like, Jacob is thinking it's more than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the sadness.
So, Jacob caught her hand and held it to his face, like I said, then sighs and asks how she's feeling. He probably should have taken her to a doctor or something. Which, yes, if that happens to you, go to a doctor because, what is it called?
Silent drowning? No.
Second.
Land drowning?
Something like that.
Second drowning. I remember us learning about it.
Essentially, I'm blanking on the name because it is almost 10 p.m. and we are not night people. So
we can be, but not today.
Apologies. But essentially, it's from like aspiration and
dry drowning.
Dry drowning.
There we go.
So, yes, go seek medical attention.
Oh, wow. Dry drowning can happen. We are not medical professionals. This is reading from Google. Do not use this as medical advice. Dry drowning can happen after you've fallen into water and have been taken out. After taking in water through the nose or mouth, the muscles in your windpipe can become constrained to protect your lungs. Some people have labeled this condition dry drowning, though this is not a medical term or diagnosis. But I do remember when we worked at the water park, that was definitely a thing.
Yeah, I feel like there's another term for it, though.
I think there's a medical term, but dry drowning is what I've heard of.
Yeah. I know that there's something else. You can leave it in the comments if you know.
Yes.
But my brain just is not functioning right now, so apologies.
Yes.
So Bella tells him to not worry about her. Jacob turns to look at her and says she doesn't look good. Bella doesn't feel too good either. Jacob tells her that he will go get her truck and take her home. She should be there when Charlie gets back. Jake helped her to her truck when he came back. He sat in the driver's seat and pulled her next to him and kept his arm around her tight. Bella leaned her head against his chest. Bella asked how he was going to get home, though. But Jacob wasn't going home. They still haven't caught the bloodsucker. It was a quiet rest of the ride, and Bella thought to herself that it felt nice, warm and comforting with Jacob. He was a safe harbor. Quote, I could stake a claim. I had that much within my power, end quote. We're not going to acknowledge that one. We've already been going after Bella a lot.
You know that's a red flag. We're just going to keep going, but Jesus.
But to do this, she needed to tell him everything, even the voices. He needed to know everything before he made a decision.
Okay, smart. Yes, informed consent is definitely a thing.
Mm-hmm. You need to know what you're signing up for. Bella knew that he wouldn't even pause to think things through, though, and would take her anyways. Which, yeah. Would it be wrong to try to make Jacob happy, even if the love she felt for him was much weaker than what she knew she was capable of? Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah.
Yeah.
They arrived at her house, and Jacob cut the engine. He threw his other arm around her. Quote, again, this felt nice, almost like being a whole person again, end quote. Bella thought he was thinking of Harry and was surprised when he apologetically said, quote, sorry, I know you don't feel exactly the way I do, Bells. I swear I don't mind. I'm just so glad that you're okay that I could sing. And that's something no one wants to hear, he laughed. Bella thought to herself again, wouldn't Edward want her to be as happy as possible? Jake pressed his cheek against the top of her hair, and Bella knew it would be very easy. If she turned her face to the side, she knew what would follow, and there would be no need for explanations tonight. But could I do it? Could I betray my absent heart to save my pathetic life? Butterflies assaulted my stomach as I thought about turning my head. End quote. Edward's voice was back and told her to be happy. Bella stiffened at this because she was taken off guard.
I would be taken off guard.
Jacob noticed this and released her and reached for the door. Bella wanted to tell him to wait, but she was still frozen and locked in place from Edward's voice catching her off guard. The storm blew air into the cab of the truck, and it looked like someone punched Jacob in the gut. He slammed the door and started the truck. His hands were shaking really bad. Bella asked what was wrong. He tells her a vampire. He can smell it. And thus ends the good chapters.
Oh, I know what's happening next, but it is 10 o'clock and we're done recording, so we're not going into the next chapter.
Oh, no, we're still going on this chapter, Connie. This is not the end of the chapter.
I thought it totally was.
Not yet.
My bad.
Jacob, yeah, this is our last chapter, by the way.
Yeah.
Jacob asked himself, phase or get her out. He looked at Bella and said, get you out. The tires squealed and he spun the truck around. Bella saw a black car parked across the street and tells Jacob to stop. It was Carlisle's car. Jacob was still gunning it, and Bella yells again and tells him it's not Victoria, she wants to go back. Jacob was aghast and stares at her with horror in his eyes. Bella tells him it's Carlisle's car, it's the Cullens. He began to violently shake, and Bella tells him to calm down, there's no danger. As Jacob is calming himself down, Bella tells herself to not expect any more than Carlisle. Jacob suddenly hisses, there's a vampire in her house and she wants to go back. Is she sure that this isn't a trick? Bella assures him that it's not a trick, it's Carlisle. In a flat and emotionless tone, Jacob says no. Bella tries to tell him it's okay, and Jacob tells her to take herself back. He can't go back. Treaty or not, there's an enemy in there. Bella tells him it's not like that, but Jacob continues that he has to tell Sam immediately. This changes things and they can't be caught outside of their territory. Bella tells him it's not war, but he didn't listen. He put the truck in neutral, jumped out the door, and took off running. He called back to her, bye, Bella. I really hope you don't die. Remorse filled Bella. What had she done to Jacob? Bella slid back across the seat and put the truck in drive. When she parked, there was a twinge of doubt. What if it was a trick? She looked back at the car and was sure that it was his. Bella entered the house and was searching for the light switch. It was pitch black. Something Jacob told her today echoed in her head. Quote, she took off in the water. The bloodsuckers have the advantage there. That's why I raced home. I was afraid that she was going to double back swimming. End quote. Bella froze. She recognized that there was a strange orange color on the water that she had seen, which I know I didn't mention, but she did mention that when she was drowning. It was the color of fire. It was Victoria's hair blowing in the wind. She was there in the harbor with her and Jacob. So she saw her in the water.
And saw her with Jacob.
Jacob was there too. If it wasn't for Sam being there, and if it was just her and Jacob, she couldn't breathe. Because she's finally realizing putting everyone in danger. The light flickered on, but Bella didn't flip the switch. Quote, I blinked into the sudden light and saw that someone was there waiting for me. End quote, and end of chapter 16. And end of the rest of the good in the book, because it's done now.
Yep. Also, I will say, the one thing, it's good that we're almost done recording. I'm like out of voice.
Same.
I believe it. The one thing I do remember that like actually freaked me out, and you'll see it in the movie, is that when Bella was getting pulled out of the water, all you see is Victoria's eyes pop above the water with her hair, and then she slowly goes back down into the water. And Jess and I have this thing called thalassophobia, if I'm saying that right. We don't with bodies of water, especially deep bodies of water, for that exact reason. Okay, well, maybe not a vampire, but something in the water that may not have amicable feelings towards us.
Yeah, Jody, thanks for that fun little TikTok the other day.
It's not too bad. It goes into that Jordan Hewitt guy who's
the
one who looks like 40 years old, but he's 26. And he goes, hey, come here real quick. I'm going to tell you about this.
I couldn't even get past the first 2 seconds because it starts with something really big coming out of the ocean. I'm like, no.
That wasn't the ocean. He explains it.
I don't care. I can't watch it.
It was a catfish that you can find in lakes and rivers.
Oh.
You know what Minnesota has 10,000 of?
Lakes.
Plenty of rivers.
Over 10,000 lakes.
Over 10,000 lakes. Honestly, though, wait, which would scare me more, northern or that?
I think catfish look creepier.
Yeah, but if I'm in the water, I turn and I see a northern or the catfish. Of that size. Which one's scarier?
Catfish. Northern just have little teeth.
They have teeth.
They're not that big, though. I mean, they can get big. Never mind. All right. Anyway.
If we want to sleep tonight, we have done ghosts. We have done deep water. We are not going to sleep tonight.
Hey, at least this time the light is still the same color. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you. I really just think he was becoming part of the lighting crew, and he just didn't think that the white light was the right ambiance.
Yeah, in our last recording session, our light changed somewhere in the middle. So that's going to be fun to go back and edit. But yeah, so that is end of Are You Okay?
I'm trying to point out the
You could have literally just like done that, but like the y'all, it's late. We are not night people.
It's late. I can be a night owl, but I've had the first of 4 midterms this week. I don't have brain power left, okay?
No.
That was actually really hard trying to figure out like where to move.
I was watching ya.
I was struggling. Maybe cut that out if my armpits are showing, because I guess the internet is a good, gross, disgusting place. Yeah, armpits now.
Y'all. Okay, well, anything else that you would like to add about these last 2 chapters of New Moon, or anything you're excited to see coming up?
I think that these were actually good chapters, and that you really got to see into Bella and Jacob a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that it's very interesting that Bella was considering turning her head. Like, that was a lot of thought to have put in there.
And she instantly, like, it was like a gut reaction, like, no, come back.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as she stiffened, and she stiffened in surprise. It wasn't bad, and Jacob was like, okay, I'm giving her space. And
Jacob did the right thing there.
He did. But if she didn't do that,
you know, I just Bella.
This last chapter especially really
frustrating.
So frustrating. I think it's one of the most frustrating chapters when it comes to Jacob and Bella. So far. Clearly, I don't know what happens in the future.
I'm just thinking even the chapters thus far. I don't know if it's the most frustrating. The one like before he showed up in her room, that one was frustrating me. The silence, the like the jumping, like that was. But this one, I think it was more. I think it was disappointment with Bella.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, you were so close to having these realizations. And then I have to remind myself this is a 17-year-old girl character who has gone through several very traumatic things. And so, like, I should be giving grace, but this is a fictional character, so I'm not. But, like, it's just so, so disappointing. I would love, like, as a writing challenge to rewrite these 2 chapters like a different way. Like, how would you write it if the characters were older? Because again, Jacob being 16 is still weird to me. Like, how would you do this as an adult situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not that adult situation. Get your mind out the gutter.
No, I don't know. It is hard to keep in mind that Jacob is only 16 because he is now being portrayed as like this
19, 20
I was going to say early 20s.
Yeah.
And he's not, but we're viewing him that way.
Yeah, and that's its whole other thing. But now knowing what you now know thus far, let's remember that when these books came out, there was women our age and older who had the straight up hots for these characters.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Also, I could see if you're like reading it and like forgetting about ages, forgetting about like school, like
I could see that because they're not talking about too much other than the spring break mention.
Yeah,
they're not really talking about age.
Not in this book.
Not in this book. So like I can see it a bit more, but then like knowing that if this was written where they were in their like mid to late 20s, I'd be like, okay, but that's also our age range right now. Mm-hmm. As a kid, I remember reading it and thinking they were so old. And then I got to age 16 and I'm like, it seems kind of weird. I got to age 17 and I'm like, I have no idea what it feels like to love someone that aggressively, even the boyfriend I had at the time. I don't know. I just,
No. I mean, I could also see some people, because it's a book, right? Like it's different on who reads, depending on who reads it. It's the same book, but like the way that I view things, the way that you view things are different. We're going to read the same book, but have different opinions. Anyway, but you know what I mean? Like we're going to have different viewpoints. Like my thought process goes to these women that were like almost obsessive with the Team Edward, Team Jacob cult thing that was going on. I can see them taking the character of Jacob. I'm going to just use that because he's like the main person in this book.
Yeah.
They're going to take Jacob and make
age him up.
They're going to age him up. They're going to put him into the body of whoever they think is attractive, whoever, like whether that be their spouse, their boyfriend, their crush, whoever.
Celebrity.
They're going to view that as their version of Jacob. So that is where I can see that.
I definitely can. And see, I didn't have a picture of Jacob really. Like I had some, but not like a ton. Honestly, I was picturing the first time I read it, there was a kid in my grade who was Native, and like literally I thought he was a girl when I met him in 5th grade because he had super long hair. He also modeled for a bit, but like that's why he had such long hair. And so like I was picturing him as Jacob for a little bit. And then the movie came out and I'm like, oh, okay, so, you know, Taylor Lautner is Jacob. But Taylor Lautner just has such a baby face to me that the character of Jacob is now just like permanently cemented as young in my head, where like it's really hard to see him as older and rugged just because I had that Taylor Lautner image like right after I read Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Taylor Lautner. I'm not saying you're not attractive. You're attractive. You just have a baby face, and that's not a bad thing.
I have not watched the movie yet, so I have no opinions.
New Moon. She's been subjected to Twilight.
I have been subjected to Twilight.
The reaction to us watching Twilight is up, by the way. You should check it out.
That's a YouTube only, so go over to our YouTube if you're on Spotify and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
because we'll do some additional content on there. So I don't really have a great picture of Jacob in my mind. He's not Taylor Lautner. I don't know who he is. I don't really have a face. I have like a body image. I know that sounds weird,
No,
but like
I have the same thing.
It's like just a body image and no face.
The weird thing is I've got the eyes, I've got the body, the rest of it, and like the idea of the jawline, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we could you ask AI to generate an image?
We probably could.
Because maybe that could fit better. Because then I can understand it more. Because if I age up Jacob in my head, I'm like, an adult male who is emotionally intelligent about their own stuff, is caring, is paying attention to you.
And that's it. Like,
yeah.
If you take Jacob as like all of his characteristics, I can see why women were obsessed with him.
Same, especially compared to broody, melodramatic Eddie boy.
Oh gosh, no, Edward is awful. But if we do figure out that AI thing, I'll throw that on our Instagram.
We totally should. I have a feeling you're going to have to do some additional prompts. Like
more
absolutely.
Rugged,
more this, because it's just going to spit out Taylor Lautner, and you'll be like, less shark boy, more shark daddy.
All right. On that note, I think we can pretty safe to wrap it up here.
Yeah, shark daddy is a good point to wrap it up on.
All right. So make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. We are currently on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Chaos Chronicles Podcast, and that's Chronicles with an S. Yeah, right now, currently, we are in our Spooky Ookie month.
Spooky Ookie.
So feel free to join us over on our Wednesday episodes. If you guys don't, I know we're kind of like split on viewers that watch our Wednesdays and viewers that watch our Saturdays, and we don't have a lot of mix.
There's some crossover, not a lot of you guys, but we do very much appreciate those who watch both portions of the channel and those who just watch one or the other. We're thankful for all of you.
But you guys here only for Saturdays this month, we got some stuff that you guys might be interested in. So
it's the same vein of vampires and werewolves. It's the Spooky Ookie.
Yeah, it's just more of a Halloween spooky-esque theme. So if you're only here for our Saturdays, maybe just browse what's coming up this month, because it might pique your interest.
It will. And we can create a separate Spooky Oogie playlist.
We will do that, yes.
That way, if you don't want to have to sort through our Who
knows what Wednesdays?
Who knows what Wednesdays, which I do suggest you check out. Not all of them are true crime. Some of them are just weird. Long Island Lolita.
Mm-hmm.
Others are a little historical biography, like From Gotti to Gotham. There are plenty of options. The Haunted Ships of the Superior, that's an older one. There's some fun ones there. Yeah. Not everything is hacked up bloody murder.
But some of it is.
A decent portion.
And we do put trigger warnings in front of that too. So
we do. We very much do. Oh, Joan of Arc. Check out that episode. That was one of my favorites to do.
That one was really cool.
I love Joan of Arc.
Yes.
She's my girl.
Yeah. That I re-listened to that and I was still angry tears streaming down my face.
It will never not be angry tears for me.
Oh gosh. All right. Yes. Well, definitely go check us out. Make sure you're following us on all platforms, just to keep up to date with us. That's where we'll let you know what's all going on, and I'm starting to use it more for other things. So make sure to be on there so you know everything that's going on.
Exactly. Well, we will see you guys next time. Otherwise, adios.
Bye.
We should get a picture of the haunted lamp. Not haunted. Sorry. Ted's lighting crew.
Why? Oh, for the Instagram.
It's so late.
I'm like, why? We don't need Ted.
I didn't say the Instagram part was in my head.
I'm just like, Connie, why do we need a picture of the haunted lamp?
So maybe it would be a good thing if we had the werewolf mind thingy.